More practical, like your sister, Mom echoed, her voice carefully measured while her fingers twisted the dinner napkin in her lap. Across from me at our family's dining table, Patricia Knox sat surrounded by the remnants of Thanksgiving dinner in our suburban San Francisco home. Mid-50s, cardigan buttoned tight, smile too rehearsed. She leaned forward, her tone honey-sweet but sharp. Sophia, you're incredibly smart, but Brittany, she's got people skills. Everyone enjoys her company. She's just more realistic. Realistic. Not more innovative. Not more visionary. Just realistic. I was 28 now. I'd graduated from MIT at 22, spent 3 years as a software engineer at a stable tech company, building systems and solving problems no one else could crack. I'd developed 3 proprietary algorithms, streamlined deployment processes, and saved my company over $1.8 million in operational costs. But Brittany, with her Instagram lifestyle posts and carefully curated boss babe content, was everyone's golden child. I watched Mom pretend to clear plates, waiting for me to agree, to be grateful for her guidance. Instead, I pulled a manila folder from my bag and placed it firmly on the table. I appreciate your concern, I said with a steady smile. Here's my business plan. I'm moving to San Francisco to start my own AI company. Mom's composure cracked. Sophia, wait. Let's discuss this rationally. No need, I said. You've been clear about what you value, and I'm focused on building something meaningful. That's why I'm leaving. What she didn't know, what no one had noticed, was that while Brittany was busy building her social media presence, I'd been developing my own machine learning platform. Fully patented, quietly revolutionary, profitable since beta testing. I didn't lose today. I just outgrew this house. If you've ever felt like the black sheep for chasing your dreams, don't forget to subscribe and follow along, because what Sophia does next will prove that walking away from family expectations isn't giving up, it's growing up. Something that would make Mom's practical advice look like the fear it truly was. As I stood up from the table, I felt the tension ripple through our cozy suburban dining room. Dad's fork clinked against his plate, conversation stopped, and I knew Brittany was already calculating how to smooth things over like she always did. But I moved with quiet determination. Gathering my things like this was just another family dinner. Because tucked inside that business plan was a second document, one that would make Mom choke on her herbal tea. The following 2 weeks were performance art. Brittany floated through the house with her ring light and ring light setup, posting family time content with me carefully cropped out. On the 4th day, she knocked on my bedroom door, lips curved in a concerned half-smile. Sophia, I hope you're not still upset about Thanksgiving. I mean, I know you really believe in this whole tech thing. I looked up briefly from packing my MIT textbooks and 3 years' worth of code documentation. Not to hide, but to preserve every breakthrough, every algorithm I'd created, every innovation that bore my name. No hard feelings at all, Brittany, I said, smiling gently. You'll do great things. She left content, but she didn't know what my confidence was built on. 3 years ago, frustrated by outdated systems at work, I'd started developing my own AI-powered learning platform. Not during family time, not with anyone's help. And last week, the patent was approved. That second page of my business plan detailed its potential, millions in educational technology revenue tied directly to my intellectual property. 1 week later, I got a call from Marcus Chen, a venture capitalist and old family friend who'd heard about my project through MIT's alumni network. Over coffee, he offered me more than funding. He offered belief, partnership, a real shot. He slid a term sheet across the table. We've been waiting for someone like you, Marcus said, his tone warm but serious. Someone who understands that innovation, not imitation, builds the future. As I signed the investment agreement, something awakened inside me. This was what real support felt like, not pressure to conform, but excitement about what I could create. On my final day before leaving for San Francisco, just as I loaded my last suitcase into my car, Mom called me into the living room one last time. The confident composure she always maintained had dissolved. Her voice shook. Sophia, we need to talk about this patent document you showed us. She held up the printed papers with trembling hands. Why didn't you ever tell us how advanced this really was? I sat down across from her slowly, smoothing my jeans. I tried, I replied. 3 different times over the past year. You said I should focus on finding a stable job and settling down like Brittany. Her eyes moved across the technical specifications, understanding dawning as she absorbed the scope: machine learning algorithms, predictive analytics, scalable educational frameworks. And this is actually patented, she asked, her voice barely audible. I nodded. Filed 2 years ago, approved last month. And Marcus Chen's firm is investing $2 million. They're already planning the beta launch. Mom's breath caught. 2 million? Sophia, wait. You can't just leave everything behind. What about family? I looked at her gently. Family? You mean when you praised Brittany's marketing internship while dismissing my software engineering degree? Or when you suggested I give up programming because it wasn't feminine enough? She started to speak, but I continued softly. If you believed in my dreams instead of your fears, we wouldn't be here. We can support you now. Your father and I, we can help however you need. Just don't go so far away. It was never about the distance, Mom. It was about being believed in. As I headed toward the door, I heard her quiet crying behind me, but my path was already set. If you believe dreams should be chased, not buried, and you're ready to see what Sophia builds next, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the chapter where she goes from misunderstood to unstoppable. The patent was mine, the investment secured, my team assembled. And as for Brittany? She was about to discover that influence can gather followers, but only innovation changes the world. That evening, as I loaded the last box into my car, I found a handwritten note tucked under my windshield wiper: really going to miss having you around. Good luck with everything. Brittany. I paused, reading it twice, then carefully folded it and slipped it into my jacket pocket. She'd understand what I was building soon enough. In fact, the whole tech world would. My first day in San Francisco felt like stepping into a completely different reality. Gone were the suburban expectations and worried whispers about my future. My new shared workspace overlooked the bay, exposed brick walls, collaborative energy, and a desk nameplate that read Sophia Knox, founder and CEO, Neural Pathways AI. But the real change wasn't the environment. It was the belief. Marcus Chen arranged a meet and greet with other portfolio companies. But it wasn't a typical networking event. He introduced my story. He talked about the learning platform I'd developed, its potential impact, and how it was already transforming educational technology. Sophia isn't here to follow a template, Marcus said. She's here to write the future of personalized learning. Her algorithms are revolutionary, they're tested, and this is just the beginning. At home, I was the dreamer who needed to be practical. In Silicon Valley, I was the innovator everyone wanted to meet. And then, 3 months later, came the validation I never expected. Mid-product demo with potential partners, my phone lit up. A text from Amanda Price, my cousin who worked in tech recruiting: "You need to see this article. Your timing was perfect." I stepped into a quiet corner and opened the link: "Traditional tech giants struggle as AI startups surge ahead in Q2." The piece was comprehensive. Established companies missing innovation cycles, billion-dollar valuations for adaptive AI platforms, 3 major universities seeking new learning solutions. The article highlighted the growing demand for personalized educational technology. But one quote made my heart race, from David Harrison, my former MIT professor: "The future belongs to systems that adapt to individual learning patterns," said Dr. Harrison, now heading Stanford's AI research division. We're seeing breakthrough innovations from young founders who understand both the technology and the human element. I grinned. That was exactly what I'd built. The platform they'd called impractical was now being hailed as the next evolution in education. A follow-up text from Amanda: "Mom's been asking about you. She saw the TechCrunch article mentioning your company. I looked out at the bay, afternoon light dancing on the water. I didn't need vindication. I had validation. If you've ever been told your dreams were too big, too risky, or just not realistic enough, subscribe to the channel because Sophia's journey is just getting started, and what comes next will reshape how we think about following your passion. Brittany had spent years building an image, crafting the perfect posts, saying the right things to gain approval. But influence without innovation has limits. And Mom, who'd chosen safety over possibility, was watching her assumptions crumble in real time. Meanwhile, I had bigger moves in motion. At Neural Pathways AI, my platform wasn't just functioning, it was transforming education. Learning efficiency increased by 67%. Student engagement scores reached unprecedented levels. Educational outcomes beyond every projection. Marcus had already approved expansion into 3 new markets, and 2 major university systems were finalizing contracts to implement my adaptive learning technology. They doubted me. Now they're trying to understand what they missed. One bright Thursday morning, 6 months after leaving home, I walked into my San Francisco office to find Marcus Chin standing by my desk, holding a folded copy of the San Francisco Chronicle. "Have you seen this?" he asked, holding up the paper. The headline read, "Bay Area AI Startup Transforms Educational Technology with Breakthrough Learning Platform." I took the paper and smiled. "I saw the online version this morning. They're calling you a pioneer," Marcus said. The article mentions how traditional educational software companies are scrambling to catch up with adaptive AI technology. "The technology was always there," I said. "It just needed someone willing to build it properly." Marcus gave me that proud mentor smile, the kind that comes from watching potential become reality. "Which is why our board voted to expand your equity stake," he said. "Starting next quarter, you'll own 15% of the company. You haven't just built a product, you've created an entirely new category." A deep satisfaction settled in my chest. This was what belief felt like. Not conditional approval, but genuine partnership in building something meaningful. Later that afternoon, as the Golden Gate Bridge caught the setting sun, an unexpected email appeared in my inbox from Patricia Knox. Subject: "I owe you an apology. I've been reading about your company. Your father showed me the Chronicle article, and I finally understand what you were trying to tell us. I was wrong to discourage your dreams. What you've built is extraordinary. Brittany told me she's been following your company's progress, and she's incredibly proud of you. I resigned from the PTA committee last week because I realized I've been giving advice about paths I was too afraid to take myself. Dreams do matter, sweetheart. I just wish I'd believed in yours sooner. Love, Mom." I stared at the screen, unexpected emotion rising in my throat. Understanding had finally arrived. Not that I needed it anymore, but it felt like a circle closing. Mom's email continued, "I know I can't undo the doubt I planted, but I want you to know you were right to leave. Innovation does matter more than security. I hope you can forgive a mother who loved you but didn't know how to support your brilliance." I read it 3 times. There was a time when words like these might have healed something broken inside me, when parental approval might have felt like the ultimate victory. But that need had transformed into something stronger. In my corner office overlooking the bay, late afternoon light illuminated the framed patent certificate on my wall. Behind me, awards from tech conferences recognizing breakthrough innovation. On my desk, a fresh copy of Wired featuring my platform as the future of personalized education. Mom's message wasn't vindication anymore. It was simply love, finally catching up to understanding. I clicked reply and typed, "Thank you for your message. You're right, dreams do matter. I wish you and Dad all the best." I hit send, then looked around my office. Every inch of it, every breakthrough displayed here, had been earned through perseverance. Not handed to me, not compromised for. Created. The next morning, I called a full team meeting. The room filled quickly: developers, UX designers, data scientists. Not one person was there out of obligation. They were here because they believed in what we were building. Once everyone settled, I stood. Before we dive into our next product launch, I said, I want to share something personal. Not about algorithms or user metrics, but about vision. About believing in it when others don't, and about never letting anyone else's limitations become your ceiling. Heads nodded, attention focused. Now we were creating something transformative together. As I spoke, I watched faces light up with understanding. Not just hearing my words, but connecting with the passion behind them. They got it. They saw that this company, our company, wasn't built on hype or trends. It was founded on authenticity, on determination, on the belief that genuine innovation, paired with purpose, changes everything. That evening, driving past my childhood neighborhood on the way to dinner with Marcus, I slowed as I passed our old house. The same beige shutters, the same carefully maintained lawn that Mom always worried about. Brittany's car was in the driveway, probably visiting for the weekend. But I didn't feel bitter. I felt thankful. Thankful they couldn't see my vision then. Thankful they questioned what I was building. Thankful because in challenging me, they forced me to find strength I didn't know I had. Because sometimes the greatest catalysts come disguised as doubt. Sometimes being too ambitious is exactly the quality that makes you unstoppable. And sometimes the best response to being misunderstood is to build something so meaningful that understanding becomes inevitable. My phone buzzed. A text from Amanda lit up the screen. Mom's been asking if you'd consider moving back to be closer to family. She misses you. I looked at the message, then typed back, I miss her too, but I'm building my life here. Maybe she and Dad could come visit the office sometime. Because real success isn't about returning to prove anyone wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about trusting your instincts, especially when others doubt them. It's about refusing to shrink your dreams for someone else's comfort and choosing to expand them for your own fulfillment. And that's where the real story begins. As I parked outside the restaurant, I found myself thinking about all the other Sophias out there. Young innovators with big ideas, constantly told to be more realistic by people who gave up on their own dreams. Maybe this story, the one I'm still living, will reach one of them. Maybe it will be the encouragement they need to stop seeking permission and start building their future. Because sometimes doubt isn't a dead end. It's a detour towards something better. You take the skepticism, you take the fear, and you transform it into fuel. Into innovations, breakthroughs, and achievements that prove your unrealistic dreams were always just code for you're ahead of your time. That night, sitting in my home office, reviewing partnership proposals from educational institutions worldwide for the platform I once built in secret, I felt profound contentment. Above my desk, framed in sleek silver, was a quote Mom once said to discourage me, "You're too ambitious for your own good." She wasn't wrong. That ambition? It's exactly what brought me here. To innovation, to impact, to independence, to the life I was always meant to build on my own vision. If you've made it this far, thank you. Genuinely. This story wasn't just about me. It was about every person who's ever been told their dreams were too big, too risky, too different, or just not practical enough. If you recognized yourself in my journey, I want to connect with you. Share your story in the comments below. Tell me where you are in pursuing your own vision. Because I understand how isolating it feels when you're innovating, creating breakthroughs, but still facing doubt from those closest to you. I've walked that path. And I promise you, you're not alone. You're not overthinking it. You're not asking for too much when you simply want support for the extraordinary work you're doing. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing. Not just to see what comes next, but to join a community that celebrates authentic innovation, hard-earned success, and courage without compromise. We're creating something meaningful here for visionaries like us. And if I could share one piece of wisdom, it's this: stop waiting for approval. Stop diminishing your vision to ease their anxiety. Don't let someone else's fear of risk become the reason you abandon your potential. Transform their doubt into determination. Use their silence as space to innovate. Keep creating. Keep building. Because eventually, they'll understand what you were working toward. And by then, you'll already be living the future you envisioned, a future built by your own brilliant mind. This is your moment. This is your calling. You don't need to prove them wrong. You just need to prove yourself right.